Hi, I'm the math guy, Steve. Let's try this word problem. So, this one says, find the length x in the diagram. And here we have a big old triangle, okay? Now, inside this bigger triangle is a smaller triangle. So oftentimes when dealing with problems like these, we definitely want to consider small triangle, big triangle. Think small triangle, big triangle, okay? So, and it may be even best to even draw these triangles. Let's try it. Here's our smaller triangle, okay? And here's our bigger triangle. And how this helps us is, first, let's note they're both right triangles. They also have similar angle or equal angles, and so they become similar figures. So when dealing with similar figures, then we can make a proportion equation and then solve that proportion. Just makes it a little bit easier. So let's try to find the sides of the smaller triangle, big triangle. First, let's look at this bigger triangle. We see on this side, the bigger triangle is 5. That's that whole side. And then we also have this side of the bigger triangle, 4. So we'll put those parts on. Let's see. Here's 5 and here's 4. Now, when we consider the smaller triangle, we know this side is 3. So the smaller triangle, we know this side is 3. Whereas this side, it's a little harder to tell. So we see if this bigger side is 5, and I know this little piece is x, then this would have to be the difference of those. So this smaller side would be that whole 5 minus this x. So we write that as 5 minus x. Smaller triangle, big triangle. And now we can compare the sides. Meaning, if I look at this side of the smaller triangle, that would be 5 minus x. And I would divide that by 5. And that would have to be equal to or proportional to this side 3 and this side 4. So let's set up our equation. We know that 5 minus x divided by 5 has to be equal to 3 divided by 4. So think small, big, set them equal. And now it's an equation, it's a proportion. So to solve proportions, what we do is, well, multiply this by this, and we call that cross multiplying, okay? So let's do it. Okay, here we would get 5 minus x times 4. Let's write it as 4 times 5 minus x, okay? And that has to be equal to 3 times 5, okay? 3 times 5. And now we're solving this linear equation. Now, how we solve it is first by getting rid of these parentheses. They're just kind of in the way. So here, how do we get rid of them? We distribute across the parentheses. 4 times 5, we get 20. 4 times negative x, we get negative 4x. Okay. And here, 3 times 5, that's just 15. All right. So trying to get x by itself, we move the non-x stuff to the other side. So here we would subtract 20 from both sides. All right. That gives me what? Negative 4x equals 15 minus 20 is negative 5. And lastly, get the x by itself by dividing both sides by negative 4. There we go. So x equals negative 5 divided by negative 4. That's positive 5/4. Okay, so there's our solution. Now, any chance you get, you definitely want to check it. Okay, let's try checking it. How do we check it? Okay, like Nike, just check it. Okay, how do we check it? We plug it back in and see if we get some true statements. Let's see. Okay, so again, we're comparing sides of these triangles. So here we'd say, okay, 3 is to 4. Got it. So 3 divided by 4 is our check step. Okay. Our Nike step. All right. 3 divided by 4, is that equal to, if I plug in 5/4 for x, we would get 5 minus 5/4, 5 minus 5/4 divided by this side 5. We're seeing, is this a true statement? Let's see. Let's check it out. You get it? Okay. So first, 3 divided by 4. Is that the same as? Well, when I subtract these, I end up getting 15 divided by 4 all over that 5. And when you divide fractions, you multiply by the reciprocal. So here we would get is 3/4. Is that the same as 15 divided by 4 times multiplied by the reciprocal, or keep, change, flip is what we call it. All right. So keep this one the same, change it to multiplication, flip this one. So we get 1 over 5. Are these the same? Yeah, we see these are the same. 3 divided by 4. Is that the same as 15 divided by 20? It is, because if I reduce both, we would get 3/4 equals 3/4. So it checks out. Okay. So again, word problems like this isn't hard. Just think small triangle, big triangle. Okay. And always remember, math is everywhere.